Science Journal for Kids and Teens presents How Do Glass Frogs Become Transparent? Adapted from the original peer-reviewed paper in the journal Science, published on December 22, 2022. Research conducted by Junji Yao, Carlos Tabuada, Jesse Delia, and others from the Department of Biomedical Engineering and the Department of Biology at Duke University. See the full list of authors and their affiliations in the accompanying PDF. Read by Miranda Wilson. Abstract. Glass frogs earned their name not because they are fragile, but because they are see-through. These tropical frogs have transparent skin and muscles. When sleeping on green leaves, their bodies are almost impossible to see. This form of camouflage is rare. Most animals have colorful red blood cells that would be visible under transparent skin and give them away to predators. We used a special scanner to figure out how glass frogs overcome this challenge. We discovered that these frogs are more transparent when they sleep than when they are active. They do this by hiding most of their red blood cells in their livers during sleep. This makes them nearly transparent to predators. Our results help explain how glass frogs can manage this unusual kind of camouflage. This finding may also help doctors treat medical conditions in humans. Introduction. What would you do if you had an invisibility cloak? For humans, invisibility cloaks are just make-believe, but one group of frogs has mastered the art of disappearing in plain sight. Glass frogs live in the rainforests of Central and South America. They spend their days sleeping on the undersides of leaves. This leaves them vulnerable to predators. These small frogs are on the menu for snakes, birds, lizards, mammals, and even large spiders. But glass frogs can do a biological magic trick. They use an unusual form of camouflage to hide from predators. The skin on their backs is green to match the surrounding leaves, but the skin on their bellies is transparent. Viewed from above, the frogs are almost invisible. Very few vertebrates that live on land are transparent. That's because their blood contains red blood cells that are, you guessed it, red. These cells are necessary to deliver oxygen around the body, but their color makes them highly visible under transparent skin. We wondered how glass frogs got around this challenge. Then we noticed that glass frogs seemed more transparent when they were sleeping. When they were awake, it was easier to see their blood moving around their bodies. We wondered, where does the blood go when they sleep? Here in Figure 1, you can see a few glass frogs demonstrate their camouflage as they sleep together on the underside of a leaf. The photo shows the green underside of a single leaf. The frogs are green with dark eyes. Looking at the photo, how many glass frogs can you count? Methods. We first wanted to be sure that glass frogs really are more transparent when they sleep. We shone a light through their bodies and took color photographs. We did this while they were active, sleeping, and anesthetized, not awake, but also not in control of their bodies. Next, we needed a way to track where the red blood cells were in the frogs' bodies over time. We used a type of scanner called photoacoustic microscopy. This technique involves shooting a safe laser beam of light into tissue. It is absorbed by cells and converted into ultrasonic sound waves. A sensor then picks up these sound waves to track their location. For our experiments, we shone a green laser at glass frogs as they slept upside down in a laboratory dish. This is similar to how they would sleep on a leaf. The red blood cells in the frog's body absorbed the green light and emitted ultrasonic waves. We used these waves to track the locations of red blood cells in the frogs' bodies. Both the green laser and the ultrasonic waves were silent, so that frogs would not wake up. We also used this technique to track red blood cells in non-transparent frog species for comparison, or control group. Results. First, we found that glass frogs are more transparent when they sleep, up to 61% more transparent than when they are active. Here in Figure 2, you can see flash photography of a glass frog showing the change in red blood cells when sleeping on the left and active on the right. The glass frog's red blood cells are much more visible when active. The sleeping glass frog has a more green hue, whereas the active glass frog is more reddish. Next, we used our scanner to determine where the glass frog's red blood cells go during sleep. Surprisingly, we saw that the frogs hide around 90% of their red blood cells in their livers when they sleep. This resulted in their livers growing about 40% larger. Figure 3 shows results from the scanner showing the location of red blood cells of the same frog while asleep and while under anesthesia. A sleeping frog is on the left, and the anesthetized frog is on the right. Bright green colors indicate where the red blood cells are in the frog's body. Looking at the images, where do glass frogs' red blood cells go when they sleep? The anesthetized frogs did not store their red blood cells in their livers. Once the frogs woke up, the red blood cells quickly flowed out of the liver and circulated all around their bodies. Their livers returned to their normal size, and they became redder and less transparent. Finally, we looked at red blood cells in other non-transparent frog species. We found that the livers of other frogs stay the same size when they sleep. Also, most of their red blood cells continue to move around their bodies. These findings suggest that non-transparent frogs do not store red blood cells in their livers when they sleep. Discussion. We found that glass frogs conceal their red blood cells in their livers when sleeping. But why isn't the liver then clearly visible to predators? Glass frog livers are surrounded by millions of nanocrystals that reflect light. This makes the liver act almost like a mirror that hides the red blood cells within. We are not sure exactly how glass frogs store and release their red blood cells on demand like this. However, we think that understanding how they do this could have implications for human medicine. For most vertebrates, packing red blood cells together in one place results in dangerous blood clotting. But glass frogs don't appear to have any problems with their health from storing blood in their liver. Understanding how the frogs can pool their blood this way may give us clues to some human health conditions involving clotting. These include deep vein thrombosis and stroke. If we do more research on glass frogs, it could lead to new medication that stops blood clotting. Conclusion. We hope that this discovery will help researchers develop new treatments. These could help people with clotting disorders. Deep vein thrombosis and stroke are much more common in adults than in children. Young people are more at risk if they have other medical conditions or if they have to spend a long time in the hospital. Everyone can make choices that reduce the risk of thrombosis and stroke. These include staying active, not sitting still for too long, not smoking, and eating healthy foods. Thank you for listening to this recording. Visit our website, sciencejournalforkids.org, for more free science teaching resources.